Fishing Priest is an archetype that uses an aggressive package to be able to deal damage to your opponent. The idea is you want to be looking for your 1-drops on the earlier turn, so you're looking for Brain Masseuse, you're looking for Catch of the Day, and you're using for Zealous Healer to be able to do as your turn 1 play. If you start with the coin, having Zealous Healer and then one of your other drops is always going to be quite a good play. You need to play down the Overzealous Healer and then play down the coin to be able to get it to activate, because with its 3/3 stat line, if you end up losing it and the death rattle's still active, in general you're going to lose a lot of damage that you could have had on your opponent. The other cards that you're looking at keeping and using throughout the time is to get your Imbue ready. You obviously use Bitterbloom Knight, you use Lunar Wing Messenger, and you also will be using the Papercraft Angel to be able to get your hero power down to 0. If you are doing it in that particular way, you can generally get your choices quite easily. So if you're looking for a card that's quite important for you, you do want to make sure that you are looking at, if you have, say, 3 mana left, you want to be using all of your mana and then using the hero power to get a 1-drop to become a 0-drop if you've only got 1 Imbue and so on. The other cards that are quite good at using it, so Orbital Halo is quite useful. If you use Orbital Halo, don't play it onto Overzealous Healer before the silence happens, because otherwise you will lose the buff and you'll lose the Divine Shield as well. Other cards that are quite good, if you have the Imbue, you'll sometimes find the Spirit, and if you've used it, you obviously get the extra plus 3/3, so you end up getting a 4/6 coming from it as well. If you have quite a wide board and you're dealing with an archetype such as Death Knight that can quite easily do an AoE to you, Observer of Mysteries is really powerful because your opponent won't be sure what secrets will be coming out of it, and in general, the secrets that you get from both Hunter and from Mage, the Counterspell and the Ice Trap, is going to be able to deal with at least one of the spells that your opponent will use. And there's also obviously the other spells as well that can be quite useful too. So Observer of Mysteries is quite an important part of the archetype to be able to make it so when you play it down, you do have a lot of your minions survive. The Trusty Fishing Rod in general, so you're wanting to have Catch of the Day in your deck, and then the Trusty Fishing Rod will be able to get it out of your deck, and then you can obviously use the Rush as well. So the downside of summoning a 2/1 for your opponent does end up happening. The Jug is used mostly as a finishing card. Usually at turn 5, you will hopefully have established enough of an aggressive board state that your Jug, if you do need to use it, you'll be able to use it because of all the different minion types that are in your deck. So you have Demon, you have Undead, you have Draenei, you have Beasts, and you have Pirates as well. So in general, your board state will be able to get an extra 9/9 coming onto the field through the buffs. Hot Coals is another useful card for dealing with wide boards that your opponent potentially may have, and using in combination with the Nightshade Tea or the Brain Masseuse can also deal quite a bit to your opponent. And once again, Acupuncture does do quite a bit of damage to your opponent as well. Cards you're mulliganing for in this, in general, you'll have the Brain Masseuse, you'll have the Overzealous Healer, and you'll have one of your 2 Imbue cards. Orbital Halo is quite good, and Observer of Mysteries and Fishing Rod is also going to be quite good most of the time. Let's get into the gameplay. So I'm playing against a Druid this time, so with Druid in general they're going to be playing Imbue still. It is a lot weaker obviously since the nerfs have hit it, but it still is quite a strong deck. I end up just tossing away the Acupuncture because all those other cards are quite useful. Because if I didn't end up having a 1-drop that turn, I would have been able to play the Lunar Wing that turn to be able to put the Orbital Halo onto it if I needed to. And that, obviously, with the 4/3 on the board is going to be quite powerful against a Druid too, with the Divine Shield. I did end up drawing into the Overzealous Healer, so I played it first, then I used the coin, and then I used the Brain Masseuse. This means that with the Overzealous Healer, the buff does end up getting... the Death Rattle ends up getting removed because of the silence that ends up coming onto it. And I put the Divine Shield onto the Brain Masseuse so it didn't take any extra damage from a potentially, like, swipe sort of play. And I played down the Shadow Attendant on turn 2. It obviously means that I get quite a strong board state, being able to deal a lot of damage to the opponent. They played down the Photosynthesis, so it's going to do a little bit in terms of getting them some cards and some health back. But with the board state that I already have, I am currently already posing 9 damage, and it's only on turn 2. This turn I end up playing down the Observer of Mysteries just to prevent them from possibly playing down like a swipe or something along those lines. And they did have a trail mix being played too, so I didn't really want to risk a potential difficult turn that could come from them. With the two secrets and one being a counter spell, like, they did end up having the innovate, but it didn't really mean too much. Like, they were potentially trying to go for a bigger play, and they ultimately end up deciding to concede. So that does show the pressure that can be applied through this deck. Going into Death Knight, I do find that this deck can be quite difficult to deal with Death Knight, simply because of how many heals and how easy it is for the Death Knight to be able to heal back the damage that you deal. I end up keeping the Brain Masseuse and I toss away the fish because of the fact that Fishing Rod once again is going to be the stronger card to be getting here. I end up playing down the Brain Masseuse this turn to be able to pose pressure towards the opponent, and then I do have the Bitter Bloom Knight for next turn, for a following turn, to be able to use the Imbue if I need to. I end up drawing into another Bitter Bloom Knight, so obviously it'll be quite useful using one of those to be able to pose pressure towards my opponent and also get the Imbue ready. I have the Fishing Rod in my hand as well, which is going to be quite strong. They end up using the Ghoul and they trade into the 2/4. Since the 2/4 does take damage through the attack, obviously that is the better way to do it. It means that you're also somewhat dealing with the opponent's board as well. I draw into the Overzealous Healer here, but I end up playing down the Fishing Rod just because it's quite likely or quite possible that I may end up getting the fish from it. Unfortunately I don't, but that's all fine. The Overzealous Healer here obviously is posing quite a bit of damage anyway. I draw into an Acupuncture, so it does mean that I'm posing a bit of damage, and right now I'm just thinking of if I can end up just going face or if I need to trade. Ultimately, I end up deciding to trade here simply because of the fact that if they end up putting the Reborn and the healing onto that Starship, it potentially could pose a problem towards my game plan. So I end up using the Acupuncture here just to be able to get rid of the Death Rattles onto the Overzealous Healers, and then I use the Imbue as well, and I choose Acupuncture here obviously because of the fact that it's posing more damage onto them. I'm now going to trade into the 2/2 using my Bitter Bloom Knight, and then I'm going to be fine with them having the Starship there because of the fact that they can't put a Reborn onto it anyway. Oh, sorry, I end up taking it out just because I don't want them to be able to do an extra possibility of a spell. Because if they use the 5 mana AoE, the Corpse Explosion, it potentially could cause an issue towards me. And with the Hot Coals draw that I end up having here, I do have the 12 damage on board, along with the 2 coming from Hot Coals for lethal. So as you can see, this deck is really easy to be able to climb to Legend with. You just got to make sure that you're thinking about your early game plays and being able to deal the damage that you need to towards them. If you've enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and bye for now.